at 6 o'clock or a couple minutes after in the morning, and I just finished my shower, got all set up for the day, and it's still very dark out here. According to the GPS, we just went past Chatham. So there's Danville, Virginia. And there's Lynchburg. And there's Gretna, and there's Chatham right in the middle of the screen. So we're just a bit north of Chatham now. We might almost be up to Gretna by this time. And we're supposed to be at Chatham at 5:15, and it's 6:15, so that makes us still an hour and a half behind schedule. But again, sometimes those final arrival times are padded out so the train doesn't seem as late. I would just like to arrive in Philadelphia as close to noon as possible. It would be optimal.
Sun rising.
Didn't think my camera would register it, but it's picking it up a little bit.
Oh, there's a nice view.
I was reading that they're discontinuing the...
Fast.
At 7 o'clock, we're just pulling out of Lynchburg, Virginia.
And then the truck traffic just wears them down. That's pretty.
Oh, there's a shot.
Good morning.
On the way from Chicago to DC, coming east.
It's 7:21 in the morning after breakfast. We're going through Amherst, Virginia. So at 7:48, we're roughly halfway between Lynchburg and Charlottesville in the town of Arrington here. Or outside of it. This is Covesville. Here now at 8:30. We're just on the southwest side of Charlottesville. At 8:32, we're into Charlottesville. At 8:45, we leave Charlottesville. Alright, at 9:20 in the morning, we're at Orange here, Orange, Virginia, and we're kind of sneaking up on the outskirts of Washington, D.C. I imagine we will be in D.C. before 10 o'clock, and at that point everything starts getting kind of close together. You've got Baltimore, and you know, the cities are a lot closer together. And Philadelphia is going to be up just a little bit north of there, which is where I'm getting off. So right now they're predicting a 12:30 arrival, which is roughly 3 hours from now. So that might be doable, especially since once we get to Washington, D.C., then we're on the high-speed rail corridor, that the train should move along much more briskly than it has been winding around through the wilderness out here.
Norfolk Southern, milepost 79.2, no defects.
At about 9:30, we're in Culpeper, Virginia. Which is right there. That far to go to DC.
Stopping at the station. I'm one.
Okay, we're in Culpeper, Virginia. We've stopped at the station. It's supposed to have been here at 8 o'clock. It's 9:37 now, so we're still an hour and a half behind schedule. Okay, they've updated their arrival from in Philadelphia from 12:30 to 12:54. So 1 hour late arrival. And we're leaving Culpeper.
AMTRAK 20 Hagerstown. Wait one, local 92 queue coming there. Lower than expected.
At 9:43 we've stopped here. We're waiting for a freight train to pass us. I suppose it'll be on these rails right here. But it's yet another delay caused by freight trains. So far all of our delays have been due to freight train interference that apparently wasn't part of the schedule. Quite a while later at just before 10 o'clock we're still sitting here waiting on the freight train.
Rather than just a house in the city, because there's just so much to this place. So if you want the camp, it's not just a romantic sort.
Why don't you just set number, it off at the number 2 wheat track, over. Put this engine on a number 2 wheat track, over.
So at 10:07, 10:08, we finally got rolling. There was this one little thing that went zipping by there. It looked like it was 2 locomotives or something. I didn't even get a look at it. And it was no train. Now, I haven't gone to the left side of our train. Maybe there's another set of tracks there. But this was as anticlimactic as having a little hand cart or something going by after all that wait. Well, it's 10:12 and we just passed Brandy Station here. Barely past Culpeper, which we went through a long time ago. A lot of time going very slow and sitting still. This is why AMTRAK has problems being on schedule so often. I've experienced more problems with timeliness on the East Coast with AMTRAK than I have with the long-distance Western trains. I don't know if that's just because there's less interference with trains or more parallel rails or the interval between the freight trains is greater, whatever it is. It it seems to be less of an issue less often.
At 20 North Main, approaching merging Southwood.
Culpeper, Southwood, AMTRAK.
Yeah.
36. Manassas, Virginia. According to the schedule, we're in Manassas 2 hours late. It's about 10:40 and it should have been 8:40. This is the Manassas station there. Although it's hard to see anything through all the gunk on the window, pulling out of Manassas at 10:48.
Hey, go ahead, over.
Next stop is Alexandria, and then Washington, D.C.
2 more cars heading 2 to go.
Both are supposed to be stops with really no delay, just the shortest possible stops to let people on and off. And the same thing is true for subsequent stops at Baltimore and Wilmington. So these are all stops that don't allow for smoking or anything like that. It's just embark and disembark passengers. But we've only just pulled ahead here. I guess we're getting more people on and off now. It's a small station.
Norfolk Southern, milepost 31.6, track 1, no defects.
At 11 o'clock, we're passing through Clifton, Virginia.
Clifton, North 1, AMTRAK.
Alright, we're in the vicinity of North Springfield, and it's about 11:12, and we're going to be passing under Interstate 495, which is the orbital highway around DC and the surrounding communities such as Arlington and Alexandria. So we're getting in there now. We'll be in Alexandria pretty quickly. Alright, at 11:22 we're in Alexandria. And I think we're pretty close to the station. I remember these buildings from other trips. And now we're going to start turning northwards to parallel the Potomac. We're right next to the airport here. There's a plane coming in for a landing. That's what do they call it? Ronald Reagan Airport, I think.
301.
Or the National Airport.
301, I'll let you know.
If we don't lose this train here pretty quick, we're not going to get to see the Potomac.
How you doing?
All right. The train's going to curve up and go right up near the Capitol building, and the station is just on the northeastern corner of the mall there, and the train goes underground to get to it. So we already came up past the edge of the mall there, and we're at Union Station, DC Union Station, at 11:42.
Huh?
the way this, once you go all the way down, then it can't lower the platform anymore. Instead, it raises the whole thing up on the wheels. So I was talking with
That's good right there, 28K.
one of the train officials on our train. I don't think she was the primary conductor, but she was somebody, you know, like second in command or something like that. And the engineer who was getting off here, and they were talking about the freight train dispatcher and all the problems they were having with them during the whole run up, you know, through Georgia and Virginia.
CNE 2080 of the 796 King Tower Submission North. Where you stand, 4 West, H Bridge, radio.
Roger. Permission north, 796, 4 West, where we stand. 28 Sims, stretch it on permission.
Anyway, they were talking about how they were getting a hard time from the dispatcher.
All right, that's good, 20, one more stretch. You got permission, one more stretch. Stay your break, that's a good couple, 20.
There'll be a couple behind the horns. Keep on going. Keep going.
Anyway, they were saying that the dispatcher is supposed to give them preference, and especially when they were running behind schedule, but the dispatcher just wasn't giving them an inch and was just almost like deliberately screwing them over. They were pretty livid about it. And then our room attendant was saying that, or our car attendant was saying that that stretch there is really bad because they're running, you know, these mile-long freight trains on the tracks, but the way the track's laid out, there aren't that many sidings, and they're real short. They're not even remotely long enough to put a freight train onto. And he said, yeah, you know, if AMTRAK gets to a siding and the next siding is 50 miles away, and somewhere beyond the siding is a mile-long freight train, even though it may be 20 miles away yet, AMTRAK has to sit there and wait on the siding because it's the only way they can pass each other. There's no way the freight train can pull onto a siding and let AMTRAK pass. So, and there's just not enough sidings, so apparently that's a big reason for the delays. I know on a lot of the western trips I've been on, it's pretty common to see a freight train sitting there waiting for AMTRAK to go through, and I haven't really seen a big problem with that kind of thing, but then they've got more sidings and more often, I imagine. So chalk that down to that particular freight railroad not having their act together.
AMTRAK station services, to conductor for train number 176. AMTRAK conductor 170.
The AMTRAK app isn't smart enough to refresh itself constantly. Have to go back and then go forwards again to get an update. So now they're predicting a 1:45 arrival, which is an hour 45 minutes late.
Number 20 to the head end, you got the 4 Form Ds, count on 4. CSRBs in effect to the proceed, communication. Stand by for the running brake test, over. Roger, AMTRAK 2025, track north, slow, please.
That's the Northeast Regional there. I've been on that train a number of times. Yeah, I like the fact that the conductor or...
Track train 20, conductor, go running brake test, over 20 out.
They're running a brake test on this train right now. Not sure which way this guy's going. Is he going north or south? I think he came in from the south, I thought. Yep. There's the electric locomotive at the head end. And maybe the scenery will be a little better now because it's clouded up a bit. And the sun is no longer pounding in from the east. The streaks on the window aren't quite as obvious.
Got him inside 13 track over. Alright, so 15 up mission, here we go, checking. 1D, mark. South 20 up. Five inside, 185.
So supposedly all the tracks from here all the way up to New York are owned by AMTRAK, so we shouldn't have the nonsense we had earlier. Should get some good speeds and no interruptions. Well, of course, no sooner do I say that we should be making good time, we're crawling along here at 16 miles an hour. It's not exactly a congested area as far as I can see. I heard them saying there was a speed restriction that, well, they always have speed restrictions, I guess, of one form or another, but I gathered this was slower than usual. There's some nice conduit work there. Anyway, we're inching up here, right up around here, getting ready to cross 495 up near Greenbelt, I believe, or near Lanham, wherever that is. Yeah, it's right there where it says New Carrollton. That's where we are now.
Right, AMTRAK 20, take 1 over. Train 20, C-Tech 1, stopped at Carroll Rate 241. 20, you said you stopped at the first signal, over? Right, stopped at the first signal, Carroll Wave 241. AMTRAK 20, engine 600, first pit, signal 2 track to Carroll, proceed north to 2 track. Let me know when you get back, let me know when you get stopped at the second signal, over. That's the ride, AMTRAK 20 with engine 600, fast stop signal 2 track and Carroll 2 track, and call it the second signal.
Sounded like they were sorting out some signals and speeds and things. So we're just outside of Bowie at 110. Additional delays due to signal issues.
We have discipline this degree. Oh yeah.
At 143 we went through Odenton.
Paul, I'm going to let you have it.
All right. Good talking with you.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the trip. I'll see you. I get off in Philly as well.
Yeah.
I'll see you at the station there.
You doing all right?
I'm good. Thank you.
At 150, we're just up next to the Baltimore Washington International Airport, coming up on its west side here and heading for downtown Beno. Up until just a few minutes ago, we were just crawling along. Once again, apparently due to signal problems. But now we're making hay here. I don't know where we're going, but I think it's at least 80. We're in between Halethorpe and Arbutus. paralleling Southwestern Boulevard. And that was I-695 we just passed under. So this is Baltimore now.
So you're known for a long day. You guys are smart on the floor.
4 years. She wants to go
Nice. I crochet. Cool. But that's something you do. You just need to find something to do your hobby. Your dad. Yep, you're going everywhere. Stop it.
At 2:08, we're done with a late lunch and back in the room and pulling out of Baltimore. There's a park here. I believe we're going underneath.
Lost satellite reception.
Okay, at 2:24, we're just about ready to cross a causeway, and we're kind of near White Marsh here. So we're going to be crossing the gunpowder here. Formed by the joining of two freshwater rivers, Gunpowder Falls and Little Gunpowder Falls. And of course it empties into the Chesapeake Bay. That was the Bush River back there we just passed over. Well, we're moving now. We're up to 100 miles an hour. Wonder if that's the total speed limit here. This is the kind of speed range I was expecting for this stretch, based on past experience. Not nearly as smooth as it should be, considering its high speed. Right here is the Susquehanna River, and we're getting ready to cross over that here very momentarily. We're in Aberdeen right now. Of course, that's Maryland. 237. We're at, how's that pronounced? Havre de Grace. Just ready to cross the Susquehanna. Down to about 55 miles an hour over that bridge. Now we're speeding up again. Looks like to 80. I don't know if we'll get a glimpse of Furnace Bay out there. Kind of past it already. It's on the other side of the trees. At 242, we're way up at the top of Chesapeake Bay. Up here at Charlestown. And just off to the right is the Northeast River. We should go pretty close to it here in just a moment. The town of Charlestown is just on the other side of these trees. Small town, obviously. Okay, where's the water? There it is. Northeast River. Schedule has slipped further to 3:16 arrival. It's 2:48. We're into Elkton, Maryland. At 2:50, we just crossed into Delaware. Doesn't look any different. And we're rapidly approaching Newark and Brookside. We've just passed through Newark and Brookside on the eastern outskirts now. At 3:03, we're pulling out of the Wilmington, Delaware station. Everything is put away and ready to leave the train in about 10 minutes. Nice looking station here. I don't know if it's really old or if it's just styled that way. But it looks clean and well maintained at the very least. That building has seen better days. the Brandywine Creek back there. And out there is the Delaware River. And there's the Commodore Barry Bridge, which carries US Highway 322 across the Delaware River. And at around 3:13, we're rapidly approaching Philadelphia, just on the outskirts. So we've gotten away from the Delaware River. Delaware River is over on the east side of downtown Philadelphia. And the 30th Street station where we're going is on the west side of the Schuylkill River, which is this other small river here. So we're obviously angling up to the station, which is just about there in the middle of the screen, at the top of the letter P in Philadelphia. 3:20. We're getting there very quickly. There's a lot of litter here though. We're going to go around the curve here, around that side, and then the station's just up here. Schuylkill River. Yep, I'm all ready. Okay, we're right here. We go up here, and the train station is imminent. Just have to go up the river here, and where those bridges are, the station is. I think it's right there where that green rectangle is. Trains come in below street level, and we're going down a slope at this point. Just another 2 blocks to go. replace the big flipper board, whose name I can't remember at the moment. A little bit of a tag on the end of this. Finally got in my rental car and I'm leaving Philadelphia in this wonderful industrial area. I'm not sure what bridge this is, but it's either I-95 or it's a road that goes to I-95. Judging from the way it looked, I think this is just an access road, but I do like these old bridges.
In 3/4 of a mile, take the exit on the right to I-95 South toward International Airport.
That's the Philadelphia Airport right in front, but I'm not going there. I stood outside the 30th Street train station for about 45 minutes, being hit up by panhandlers until my pickup from Enterprise finally occurred. And then, of course, the usual mucking around.
On the right to I-95 South toward International Airport.
The usual mucking around, getting the various things signed and initialed and so on. And then, of course, downtown Philadelphia is a disaster area now, with more bypasses and detours and giant potholes that are too big to drive over or around. Just a total mess. And it wasn't even the heart of rush hour. Seemed like it took forever to get out of there. I like Philadelphia, but I didn't like that experience. Oh boy, just about a few minutes from sunset, going on the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel Thruway. Might as well tack this on the end of the train video. Looks like a $4 toll. Funneling down to one lane here. I'm just following the GPS here. I don't know what the Harbor Tunnel does for me that regular I-95 doesn't do, but hopefully it's faster. signage on the side. I think it's always been one lane here. I thought maybe it was a temporary lane closure. It doesn't look like it. After the toll booth is a bridge. Well, they didn't actually want me to pay any toll there. They had the cash lane, and then they just had a sign saying no stopping.
In 3/4 of a mile, keep left to I-895 South.
And then another sign saying you will be notified by mail regarding your payment. It's like, okay, well, I'm in a rental car, so I guess they'll have to mail the rental car company. Wonder if I'll ever see the bill.